How y'all doing?
Good.
I feel that. I feel that.
I feel that.
Yeah, you'll be fine. You're good otherwise. If I stand still here. I feel that. Yeah, you doubt it, don't you? Yeah, you know, this is great to say. I feel it is to say this is my 4th hour of church today.
Yeah. Woo-hoo.
Yeah, we got the crew out here from Bible Study Seminars, our nonprofit that puts on Bible conferences. And we were up early this morning. Thank you. We were up early this morning, went over to the Agape Spiritual Life Center, and actually had an opportunity to meet Michael Beckwith over there, which was really wonderful. People saying really kind things about Christian Science, and a lot of them very much appreciative of science and health. I've had opportunities, I guess, as I've been working recently. Last Sunday at a gathering not too much unlike this, I was sharing a clip from a popular minister who's doing some very original things over here in Simi Valley, named Francis Chan, at the Cornerstone Church. And I'm saying this at the outset because I'm going to talk a little about love, and particularly its breadth and its depth. And to say those things is to say, you know, the Spirit of God is moving in some very wonderful and creative ways. We're following a lot of interesting developments. One of them is a group within Christianity called Emergent Christianity. How many of you ever heard of that by any chance? Oh, good for you. All right. The Emergent Christianity, who's in front of the speakers, is really confining all of a sudden.
Dick, actually you have all the way to the speakers, all the way to each speaker.
Okay.
Go
Can you
back.
look center aisle here?
Yeah, you can.
This guy looks like he's dozing, I want to tell you. Sir, your salvation may depend upon this. Now, I just want to say it's really exciting. One writer, Phyllis Tickle, has written a book called The Great Emergence, and it was so fun. It popped up on Evan Mullenbacher's blog this past week, and I just was so grateful to see, again, thoughts getting out there, because emergent Christianity is turning over, is changing the traditional view of Christianity. It's amazing. I heard Phyllis talk to about 300, 400 pastors at Eden Theological Seminary, and she just leaned over the podium. She's a seasoned lady of the South, a grandmother with more grandkids than my fingers could bear, and she just talked to them like this for an hour and a half, took a lunch break, came back, talked to them for an hour and a half, telling radical things, like, she said, I know you're not going to want to hear this. I know this is not going to be easy for you to deal with, but your doctrine of atonement's got to go away. It ain't working no more. She said, there's no way that an omniscient God can't figure out how to deal with your sin other than killing his own son. Mm-hmm. She said, we don't need that kind of daddy. Great things. But you know, those things don't cause me to rest or self-congratulate, because 100 years ago, Mary Beck Grady kind of said that sort of development might happen. I'm happy she did. But I'm thinking now, how am I wrestling in the same way that she or they are in the new forms of Christianity? What am I willing to examine? And when we go through challenges, I think the question comes back, well, what would Mrs. Eddy do? The good news is we know a lot of what she did. And she went to the Bible. And let me confess something up here. I mean, I talked to a lot of groups. And Leslie, your comments this morning, today and yesterday were just so helpful. Thank you. Thank you very much. And all the work of the library. You know, it's, I talk to non-scientists, and sometimes the other clergy, after I get to know them, will make a remark like, Dick, why are you a Christian Scientist? I think the implication behind it is, you seem so normal otherwise.
Yeah. Let's be normal.
And when you talk to Christian Scientists, some of them, they won't ever say this, but I think they're thinking in their heads, Dick, why are you so interested in the Bible? You seem so normal otherwise. And I think the Bible has probably not been fully appreciated by us. Because I'll confess to you why I'm into the Bible. I'm into the Bible because I find my life story there. Mary Baker Eddy said, our thoughts of the Bible govern our lives. It's very important that we see the Bible as a template for our life like she did for hers. So when I'm having a time of not feeling understood, I'm like Hagar sitting in the desert saying, God, do you see me? And when my mouth is running faster than my life can back up, I'm having a Peter moment. When I can handle it on my own and tell God, don't call me, I'll call you. I'm Jacob. And I'm losing the wrestling match. But in all those things, I guess I find the idea of the Bible is this is where the absolute idea that governs the universe, the God of the universe, the one song, the God of all harmony, speaks to humanity. And the challenge is, this is hard for some of us who learned in more simple structures. Maybe we learned in 8th grade when we were 8 years old in 3rd grade Sunday school a certain way of approaching the Bible. And now we see, man, it's a messy message out there. Because the Bible its idea is so big, it can't present just one side. It presents a variety of perspectives. An example. We put up the slide here. I recently had a young woman, I guess I call her, when I was the dean there, and some of you may know Kristen Serafini. You know Kristen? Yeah. She's done a lot of illustrations for the Mother Church. I asked her to do an illustration here of Isaiah 54. This has become a really important passage to me this year. The text is, enlarge the place of your tent, and let them stretch out the curtains of your dwellings. Do not hold back. Lengthen your cords and strengthen your stakes. And so the guys are doing that. And the thing is, when you're trying to enlarge your tent, because you have more people that you like to invite in, you've got to get the tension on that cord supported by taking your stake deeper. And that is, I think, where I am finding my ministry, my practice as a Christian Scientist these days is, how can we enlarge our tent to be more inclusive, more loving, but also to go deeper to support it. And deeper means getting beyond the culture and the traditions, the habits and the customs of comfort and convenience that we've learned, and really re-examining the basis. I also like this because Isaiah, this is from the prophet known as 2nd Isaiah. He represents a minority view in the Old Testament. The Old Testament had a lot of conflicted feelings about whether God should be just for Israel or whether God was really for everyone. You'd think they would have had it good from the beginning, because the covenant with Abraham that God made was this relationship you and I have is going to bless all mankind, all humanity. But that didn't prove to be their experience, that they could hold on to that big picture. And indeed, Isaiah, prophet Micah, Jonah, the book of which tells you about an Israelite told to go preach a message of repentance to Israel's arch enemies, and to his great disappointment, they accept it. And God doesn't destroy them. And Jonah's not happy. This idea of tension continues. The interesting thing is, while the idea of a universal love in God is not the majority view in the Old Testament, it's the only view that Jesus chooses to advance in the New Testament. Not everything is worthy of perpetuation. And Jesus moves forward a view of God that is inclusive, that is embracing. And he goes and he talks to his audience, the people he's grown up with, who know him, who are in the same religion that he is, and he uses illustrations of holiness that must have felt like a slap across the face. The Good Samaritan story is a story about, in Jewish tradition, about, yes, a priest fails, a lawyer fails, but then the good Jew comes.